Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another short episode of Askgufish. Yes, I was finally able to book a spot at my barber's. Thank you all for your concern. Anyways, it's NAMM time, or would have been cries in COVID. In the meantime, I've been trying to get as much 2021 lineup reaction content up as possible, like near daily, which is insane for this channel. But you know what? There is so much cool stuff to talk about. We're also pushing 100K, so if you're part of the 56% of people who watch this channel but aren't subscribed, help a dude out. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. This time we're talking PRS, thanks to Chuck, the fingerboard master. Alright man, what do you think of all the new PRS models that have been released so far? Yeah, so the demand for PRS guitars last couple of years has been absolutely insane. Like the S2s and cores have been super backordered. The SEs have been killing it now that they're taking on more features from the US made models. The artificial product differentiation used to be insane when it came to SEs. Like they wouldn't even put the bird inlays on them, which is a signature aesthetic look of PRS guitars. They had dots instead, and they just looked like super low-end guitars. They've even been taking on some private stock features lately, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's run through and get some initial thoughts on PRS's 2021 lineup. And they don't actually have that much new stuff this year, in part due to the aforementioned demand, also due to a worldwide health crisis, I guess. But as always, PRS's thing has always been quality first. So let's start with the SEs. This channel has always been more focused around import brands, aka the guitars most of us can actually afford, and SEs have been pushing the envelope for how nice import guitars can feel and especially look for sub $1,000. The new Zach Myers, holy. Okay, so I think the previous Zach Myers model is probably one of the most highly requested models ever on this channel. It was a PRS SE in this awesome Trampus green, single cut, semi-hollow, glow-in-the-dark tuning keys. I mean, damn. The only reason I haven't done a video on one is because it came out so long ago. There was so much content out on it already. I've been waiting for them to update it. It's finally happened, and I reiterate, holy. So most of the specs are the same. Semi-hollow single cut, mahogany body, actual maple cap with a flame maple veneer, single F-hull, lol, maple neck, PRS 245S pickups. The aesthetics though. Okay, Trampus green is cool, but they've made it so much better. No more Trampus green, it now comes in Myers blue with black tuners. With the intense figuring, this straight up looks like it was borrowed from the core line or even private stock. Especially with the matching headstock too, it looks so cool. Most SEs don't have matching headstocks, they're mostly painted black. So for this to have a matching flame maple headstock, yeah, lovely. The wide, fat satin neck should feel great as well. Weirdly, as a metal guy, I usually prefer thinner necks, but there's something about PRS's chunkier necks that just feels so right. Now, one of my bucket list guitars is the PRS Core Tremonti Signature, specifically in faded whale blue. It's also like $4.5 grand, so that's not happening anytime soon. But in the meantime, this Zach Myers model looks like a great alternative to satisfy my blue PRS single cut itch. Plus, it's a semi-hollow, and it's about time I had one of those on the channel, right? It may be an SE, one of PRS's quote-unquote lower line instruments, but honestly, out of all the 2021 models, it's the one I definitely want to try the most. The other one I'm super interested in is also an SE, the Custom 2408. But first, we need to talk about the normal 2021 SE Custom 24s, because for the first time in a long time, they're being updated. Specifically, the carve is being changed to a shallow violin curve, akin to the SE Paul's guitar. It's a subtle change, and it's still not the full carved top I love on core models, but damn, it looks good. Much better than the old SE carve at any rate. They haven't messed with the tried and true SE Custom 24 specs though. Mahogany bodies, maple necks, rosewood fingerboards with that signature 10-inch radius. They have updated the finishes though. Charcoal burst, black gold sunburst, those are classics. Now they have that updated carve, but there's also faded blue burst and Bonnie pink. These take cues from the CE line with highly figured bright colored tops, natural backs, and natural headstocks. When it comes to PRS guitars headstocks, for me, in order of preference, it goes black, matching, and then natural. I really like the natural headstocks. And because only the top is colored, even the cutaway is natural. It looks so damn good. Just like how the Ridge wallets I use look so damn good. From a scale of 1 to Will Arnett and Arrested Development, rate my segue. Let's take a quick moment to thank the Ridge wallet for sponsoring today's episode. So Ridge is redefining the wallet. Most wallets are big and bulky in part because somehow they collect all this useless stuff, old fast food receipts, unused loyalty cards from restaurants that I will never visit again in Valdosta, Georgia. The Ridge wallet though is different. Super compact design, the plates are RFID blocking to thwart scammers and are made of highly robust materials, aluminum, titanium, even carbon fiber, and comes in a variety of colors. I love mine, it fits right in my front pocket. Because of the small size, it doesn't collect that useless clutter, which has been a great quality of life improvement. If you want to see why so many people are switching over to the Ridge wallet, head on over to ridge.com/Agufish and use the code Agufish for 10% off your order. And Ridge has been amazing with supporting the channel on this journey to 100K, so massive shout out to them for helping us push out all the near daily NAMM coverage. That's ridge.com/Agufish, code Agufish, check them out. Back to guitars though, for less than 100 more than the normal SE Custom 24, there's also a Floyd model available. I'm actually not sure if this is new for 2021, but they've at least updated the carve, so I thought it was worth mentioning anyway. Most of the specs are the same as the regular Custom 24, except of course it's got a Floyd and also an ebony fingerboard instead of rosewood. The trem is a Korean-made 1000 series. That's the standard for high-quality import models because of the best bang for buck at the moment when it comes to Floyd trems. Comes in just one single color, charcoal burst. And I mean, out of all the Floyd-equipped models out there, this is definitely one of the classier ones. It also reminds me, in general, PRS just doesn't use ebony enough. Like, I wish they also offered a non-Floyd or like a 245 with an ebony board. That's one of the things that holds me back from being like a super PRS fan. But I guess it says something that I really like the guitars, even though I really don't with rosewood. But as I was saying before, the SE Custom 2408 is the other one I really want to check out. It's an SE Custom 24, but with the addition of PRS's 408 switching system. Hence the name, 2408. Essentially, all that is two mini toggles near the tone pot to individually split each pickup. Usually when SEs have coil splitting options, it's just a single push-pull tone knob that splits both at the same time. So it's either a normal mode or split mode. Those are your two options. The one exception to that is the SE Paul's guitar, which also has a 408 switching, which was a feature originally only found as a private stock option. I'm not gonna lie to you though, I am not a fan of MIDI toggles, especially on classy looking guitars like PRS's. They just look a bit janky, like they were user added as an afterthought, and they crowd the control layout. I like hidden features, like I would have preferred if both knobs were push-pull to split each pickup individually instead. But the reason I still really want to try it is because it adds more tonal options, therefore it is the most versatile PRS SE Custom 24 to date. And also the one in Ariza Verde Flame with the natural back and natural headstock looks fantastic. There's also vintage sunburst if classic looks are more your thing. Additional electronics aside, it keeps the same construction specs as the normal SE Custom 24. Mahogany body, maple top with a flame maple veneer, maple neck with the wide thin profile, rosewood fingerboard. It has TCI-S pickups, which again, it's borrowed from the Paul's guitar. The TCI process was introduced last year and stands for tuned capacitance and inductance. I've been trying to figure out for a year exactly what this means, but it seems like they've been specifically voiced down to very fine margins exactly to how Paul Reed Smith himself imagines his guitars should sound like. So the 2408 is basically the SE Paul's guitar, but in custom 24 form. The US made core 2408 goes for about $4,000 on the low end, and while with the SE you don't get that full carved top, which is a shame. I wish they'd start doing that for some models on SEs and S2s. You are getting a lot of that functionality and PRS feel for under $1,000. And again, I love how they're experimenting with more colors and finishes you'd expect from core and private stock. Like, SEs look so good now. And that leads us nicely into the guitars that I can't afford, but look so nice and are nice to dream about. The new US Core Custom 2408. So this isn't so much a brand new model as it is an update. Same mahogany body with a figured maple top, mahogany neck instead of maple found on the SE, rosewood fingerboard, 8515 TCI tuned pickups, Gen 3 PRS tremolo, phase 3 locking tuners. So what's different in the new one then? Well, first off, the neck has been changed from a pattern regular to a pattern wide thin. They've also changed the control layout. The older one looks pretty awkward. It's like the regular custom 24, but with the added mini toggles in one recessed divot. The new one actually looks like it's been designed from the ground up with the 408 switching system in mind. And I gotta say, when they're recessed into the carved top, the mini toggles look a lot less janky. They actually look like PRS planned for them to be there, so that's a definite improvement over the original and even the SE. There's a new Core 2021 Studio too. It's a custom 22 with an HSS pickup configuration, mahogany body, mahogany neck, rosewood fingerboard, 5815 bridge humbucker, and then the middle and neck positions are occupied by narrow-field mini humbuckers. From what I understand though, unlike something like the JB Jr. or Hot Rails, for example, they're not looking to be humbucker replacements in a single coil footprint. Tone and response wise, they're supposed to be somewhere in between a single coil and a humbucker. You can split the humbucker as well, so this is another PRS guitar built for versatility, hence the name studio. The idea is you can bring this one guitar into a studio and it'll cover all the ground you need it to. You know, I've seen triple narrow-field PRS's guitar and they looked real awkward. It's amazing how much better this looks with that bridge humbucker. Last for the new set neck cores is a new semi-hollow special. Custom 22 platform again, HSH semi-hollow configuration. I mean, it's a PRS core, it looks fantastic. They've kept the old cramped 2408 control scheme though. Not my fave. Not gonna lie, between the new semi-hollows, I actually prefer the Zachmeyers a lot better. Maybe it's because it's a single cut, maybe it's because I can actually afford it. We move. For bolt-ons, a certain Mark Lidieri is getting a signature PRS Fiore, Italian for flower, and it kind of builds on what PRS started with the Silver Sky. Bolt-on maple neck, PRS's Strat shape, but with altered contours compared to the John Mayer model. Ash body instead of alder though, and has an HSS pickup configuration that's been specially voiced for just this guitar. Unlike the Silver Sky, the headstock is not reversed. It's also got a 10-inch radius instead of 7 1/4, so it seems like this is a Strat with more of that PRS DNA, whereas the Silver Sky has way more of that vintage Fender vibe to it. And lastly, speaking of which, John Mayer is getting yet another Silver Sky, this time a limited Lunar Ice edition, limited to just 1,000 pieces worldwide. I'll admit, I was one of those people that made fun of the Silver Sky when it first launched. In fairness, PRS's marketing copy was pretty funny. It was like a game of Taboo. They were trying to say it was a better Strat without saying it was a Strat. PRS actually sent me a Silver Sky. I still have it. 1 second. Yeah, here it is. I don't know. Not quite the tone I'm looking for. Overrated. But this model has been so unbelievably popular. Everyone who's played it I've talked to says they love it. The demand is insane. I mean, fair play to PRS, especially given that at $2,400, it's not a cheap guitar. Last year, they experimented with a limited 500-piece edition Nebula Sky. That sold out super quick. This year, they've doubled it to 1,000 pieces, so more people can get their hands on one if they want it. Again, it's what PRS calls a flip-flop polychromatic finish. Ibanez calls it chameleon. It's like the iridescent paint on a car. That effect where the color changes depending on the light or the angle of the light. I'm not a fan of the flip-flop finishes. It reminds me of Beatles and bugs. But first off, congrats to PRS and John Mayer for putting together a model that so many people enjoy and has been so successful. It's to the point where I don't even like Strats that much, especially triple singles, but like, all the hype has me feeling some kind of FOMO. Maybe the polar blue or the original tungsten with a maple board would be fun. Like the black outline bird inlays look amazing. I don't know, do you guys want to see if it chugs? But yeah, any of you own or played a Silver Sky? What did you think? Compared to an American Strat, better, worse, the same? What was your experience? I'm kind of bummed there isn't an SE Silver Sky this year. I think that would absolutely kill. And to be honest, I was really expecting one this year, given how popular it is. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people like me that want to try it, want that experience, want that kind of guitar in my arsenal, but maybe don't want to drop 2,400 bucks on one. As I said, triple single isn't my main thing. So for me, maybe a grand max, because I still want a solid guitar. Currently, PRS doesn't have a Strat option that fits that bill, so if I was serious, I'd be going with the Fender Ventera 50 Strat. An SE Silver Sky is kind of a glaring omission to the 2021 lineup. To a lesser extent, another one I was almost expecting this year were some sandblasted Ash models. Last year, 2019, there were limited European exclusives that we never got over here. Would have loved to see those in the US. Ash blasted guitars are so cool, and on the classy PRS custom shape, so good. I was also hoping to see something on the amp front. The MT15 is such a beast of an amp for how small it is. Mark Tremonti is one of my favorite guitarist of all time. As I said, his signature model is one of my bucket list guitars. Maybe I'll ask PRS if they've got one to spare, they'd let me borrow for a video. I just want to play with one, man. But yeah, I'm a huge fan, and he's been teasing the development of a 100-watt version. That's what they used on Walk the Sky on the new Seven Dust album too. From those albums, it sounds incredible. The tones be thick, they be juicy, and the 15-watt version is already so loud, I can only imagine the 100-watt. It's gonna be the first sound aliens hear from Earth. You can hear that from the next galaxy over. From what he says though, it was designed to be a mix of Fender Twin, Rectifier, and Bogner Uberschall. Was really hoping for more information this NAMM. I guess it's not done yet, which is fine. I just bought a Rev, so I guess another big American high gain head is like the last thing I need. But still, as a stupid huge Tremonti fan, I would have loved to see even a glimpse of it. Like, please sir, just a crumb of chug. And now I know Paul Reed Smith is notorious for being incredibly meticulous, and he doesn't like to follow trends just because other people are doing it. That being said, I can't help but being disappointed to not even see a little bit of experimentation when it comes to roasted maple, especially if the SEs are being made by Cort. They have experience with things like roasted maple and stainless steel frets. Maybe they're not doing it because it wouldn't wouldn't make sense if some of the SEs are better specs than the S2s. Paul is a bit more of a traditionalist when it comes to tone and feel, so I can see why he preferred to use harder nickel frets as opposed to stainless steel. That being said, PRS has a long history with metal players. All the new metal guys in the early 2000s, they were using PRSs. And the current generation of metal players now, we love stainless steel frets. So it would have been cool to have even one progressive SE model to take on the LTDs, to take on Schecter in terms of spec, but then with the added classiness of a PRS. You know, last year being what it was, production challenges combined with record high demand and all that, just like most other companies this year, no holy moments, but the lineup is solid, it's very safe. For fans of the import line, it's great to see PRS isn't scared of bringing those super vibrant visual statement finishes over to SE from the core or private stock lines. I remember the first SEs that I played only a few years ago at some Guitar Center. They were cool, they played really well, but like solid red or black finishes, dot inlays, like you could tell that was the budget model. The Zach Myers, holy. But yeah, those are just my initial thoughts and reaction to the PRS lineup. What do you think? Excited? Disappointed? What were the standouts for you? And what do you want to see demos of? I am 100% trying to get the Zach Myers on here, possibly the SE2408 as well. Anything else? Any and all thoughts? I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. And that'll do it for this short episode of Askfish. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe, notifications on, that way you don't miss any new uploads. Social media, merch, and Discord server links are in the description. As always, thanks so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'm off to film another one. See you next video.